All right, welcome to the final episode of Bus Stop, following the final episode of Season 1 for Incubus. I, for one, thank you guys for including me in the whole experience. That was a heck of a lot of fun. And just wanted to kind of wrap up and chat about the last episode. There's so much to unravel, and I'm sure we'll be unraveling it over the next number of weeks and months until a potential Season 2. And obviously a great cliffhanger at the end. We can talk about that too. First off, though, I'd love to hear, this is a great opportunity now that the season's over for you folks to kind of openly ask Chad about any questions that you might have about things that may not be answered, or any pressing questions, or any thoughts on, like, I like how you did this. This is the opportunity to kind of like wrap up some of our feelings and some of our thoughts about the campaign or the adventure that you may have.
What is the biggest thing we screwed up for you? I want to know the one thing that you were like, are they really going to do this?
Man, that's hard to think back to.
I have like a couple in mind, but I want to hear like the one that you're like, they're really going to do this.
I mean, I don't really think that you guys inherently screwed anything up entirely. You guys stayed on most of the beats that were needed to be, and even if you guys played stuff very well and smart in the sense of, if things didn't work out, if you didn't get the answer you want, or if, you know, narratively you didn't want to explore an option, you know, I wasn't sure if you all were going to take the skyship at one point. You know, Mickey made it pretty clear that he was not interested in really telling anything about himself, and having much of a conversation with Dilidris. Didn't want to speak with him that much. So, you know, I was trying to think of some different ways that you guys could have explored or kind of got to the Mournlands in a faster way. You know, putting in some other beats of, you know, you guys finding information. You kind of, even Mickey, who didn't want to go there, you guys came together and was like, this seems smart, this seems like the next step. And what it was, you guys found other options that kind of made sense to what you guys were trying to do. So as far as like throwing me for an entire loop, burning down the house with Fumel in it, that kind of threw me for a loop. I did probably expect Fumel to die, but to light him on fire, there was nothing. It made thematic sense to me. I mean, theater. I guess you guys didn't get a chance to explore anything within there. You know, he had a whole like realm of knowledge that he explored some more about the Mournlands and stuff, which is perfectly fine because you found out a lot of it on your own. But you know, it was if anything threw me for a loop, it was like, oh, okay, well, let's see how they do here then.
Big. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The whole thing was
sense.
wild. He did it's my first real campaign, but I feel like it's gonna be really hard to beat when I'm doing anything else in the world after this.
Oh, dude, thank you.
You know?
Yeah, that's you know, the person, Alan, love you, Alan. I know he told me he definitely will be watching he set a really high bar for me, like when he got me into D&D. You know, he'd been playing like probably since it like first came out, because you're an old fart and I love you to death. But, you know, he had built like such a high, you know, bar for me to try and meet that. And then, you know, the amazing people I get to spend time with that have, you know, built a life of doing it or spent a lot of time. You know, I get to attribute a lot of my storytelling skills to the people who told me stories. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and actually that'll lead me to, unless anybody else has anything they want to add regarding the first question, leads me to my next question, which is for each of you, what did this experience mean to you? Now that we're at the end of it, now that it's been over a week together, Gen Con and then filming the show and really close quarters and lots of chats and lots of fun and lots of hangs, but also a lot of kind of, you know, emotional sort of like heartfelt stuff and friends coming together and friends who weren't friends becoming friends. And what was it like? And we'll start with you, Frank, because you kind of just touched on it, but
Well, first off, like I'm tired of TV shows making me cry.
So you just live in the show that
You thought you would get away.
This will be easier.
I thought it would be easier,
it's
you
just
know? But, like, it's one of those things that, like, we all made characters that had very, very distinct and close analogs to ourselves. And what's wild about that is even in each individual other character, I was still seeing things that resonated with me and every one of you, you know? And so, like, this entire last, 4 hours we've been playing this game was very, very, introspective. That's what I'm saying, like, hours of game altogether, all through the weeks. Like, it has been incredibly introspective, and it's been, like, emotional, you know? It's like, I didn't think this game would make me, think like my life depended on it every second of the actual game, you know? It's like, these weren't things that I was just, like, doing because they were fun. Like, I was trying to survive. And that was insane, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that your heart rate goes up when just, like, listening to a story or trying to think of what your actions would be. And, we've spoken before of, like, the therapeutic use. And, that doesn't mean that everyone's game has to be, this gritty, emotionally raw, experience. Everyone's going to have a different one. I am sorry if I roll you guys through my therapy sessions, because that is what I use D&D for.
I love it.
And, the entire world is, things I either struggle with or that I try to, build upon, and everyone's perfect for it. Pulp Noir, just raising the stakes. And I like to put, like, pieces of my life in it. Shane is one of the dudes I very first started playing Dungeons and Dragons with. Shane Kopek.
Awesome.
And Kel, and then Alan Bertram, who has not made an appearance, but he is in the world. And you put a part of yourself in the game, whether you were a character or you're the person writing it, and there's just a lot that comes with it. And I guess I'm sorry to cut you.
Oh, you didn't. Yeah.
That is just that's what this experience gave to me is I wanted to really create experience of, like, the world community. You don't know who could necessarily be the ones at your back. The person that is just coming in for a tattoo on their ass and it's kind of like a funny situation ends up could be the big bad guy, where some guy that's kind of like just a little bit gritty, like a little bit raw at the bar, and you just don't trust him. Like, maybe a super good dude that helps you find the person you're looking for. And I think Eberron really speaks to that. It literally talks about it in a lot of the books about how, again, a beholder can be a babysitter, mind flayer can be a professor, and then your neighbor could be stacking bodies. So that's kind of what it meant to me. Is I appreciate you guys allowing me to heal through storytelling.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, this experience has just been, like, everything. Like, and almost a relief that it went so well. I mean, like, Chad and I started talking about this at Gary Con, and brought Jason in, and, like, just to kind of see it through all of the motions come to life, and then to just have a group chat where we're all talking together all day, and, like, several hour-long phone calls with Beth, and, like, getting tattooed. Yeah, we had our good old 15-minute catch-ups that ended up being, like, 2 hours every time, and being tattooed by Kelly, and I'm friends with Chad for, like, nearly a decade now. And creating a character that, I think I've touched on before, is extremely close to me and extremely parallel to me, and knowing that I can bring that to this table with a group of people that I trust. And I don't know that I would have been able to do that so freely if I didn't trust you guys. So, and just kind of, like, sad that it's done, for now.
For now. There's a lot of build-up to us. To now we're like, oh, and we go home.
Now what?
Now what? I got team 2.
But I mean, D&D's always been extremely important to me, as I'm sure it has been for most people at this table. And yeah, just a very surreal experience seeing it from start to finish. And yeah.
Awesome. Kelly.
It's been just a really emotionally relatable journey to see everybody's triumphs and like the struggles that everybody is going through, or the struggles that everyone's characters are going through, you know, and like rooting for everybody at the table, you know, like it was. It felt like a lot of ups and downs, a lot of like struggles, but then also overcoming them and like watching characters grow. I don't think that I expected to see, like signing up for it. I don't think I expected that. I think that was like, that would have seemed like a really high standard.
Yeah.
I think like if I had expected what this campaign was, I think that would have been an unrealistic expectation.
That's a great way to put it. Beth?
Cosine. Like it's just it's all of that, right? And then it's also just like you it's rare to find something that's gonna rip a bunch of tattooers away from their job.
Yeah.
For this amount of time and effort and energy, and purely for a passion project where we all like genuinely believe in it. I don't think there's any person that put in like more or less effort than the next person, you know, whether it was contacting sponsors, reaching out, networking, like planning, you know, doing a ton of extra homework and artwork, and like just pulling all this together and all the knowledge and all the separate phone calls we've all had about what we're going to do. It's like, that is a huge time commitment. I put my main campaign on hold to do this, you know, and it wasn't like, you know, and we all made those sacrifices of like telling your other nerd homies like, hey, I got to work on this for now. And that was kind of a cool thing. Like, there's not a lot of stuff that'll rip me away from, you know, your home, your kids, your pets, your job, your coworkers, your clients. Like, that's a big ask. Yeah. And I was shocked at the level of like involvement that everybody had and everybody matched. It wasn't like we had that, you know, somebody that was just like pulling teeth to kind of like, oh, I can't get a hold of this person, or like this person can't get time off work. We're all like, yeah, I'm in. And that was cool to see, because it makes it easier for you to pour more yourself, and you're like, oh, you did extra artwork, I want to do more extra artwork. You want to, you know, it's like that was really cool. And I think it makes people like really root for us. Is you tell your main campaign, you're like, hey, I got to take a break. Everybody's a little bummed, but they're like, oh, you're gonna go do another thing? I can't wait to see it. And I think that was like kind of a cool thing that I didn't really expect everybody to be that far in.
Yeah, I mean, we everyone here, you know, we got full-time jobs at whether tattooing or, you know, in law, and you know, then a lot of us have kids or, you know, wives outside of this. But every single person that was called that, you know, I initially talked to about this idea after we had it, it took, I think I left having the conversation with Kassidy and Jason when we went home, and the next day I called them. I said, I got a cast. It took one call, because every single person I called, I was like, hey, I kind of have this idea. Are you interested? And they're like, oh, yeah, sign me up. You don't know anything? Oh, no, I'm in. So, yeah, that's on you guys. And everybody, you know, the full level of passion and commitment, like you said, is can't be matched.
Other than getting that tattooed on your face tonight. For real. Like afterwards. He's like, I'm so committed, I'm going to tattoo it now.
It's appealing.
How about you?
I see you.
Man, I feel a lot of things, man. I feel
exhausted. That's one of them.
Yeah.
You know,
Is anybody else tired?
I don't know that that's the first thing, honestly. I think I'm so like charged up on this experience. Like I could run 100 miles right now. Like I feel like this was I'm gonna gas everybody up right now, so you guys get ready to run too. Man, like I came into this like I probably knew everybody the least. Like everybody kind of had some type of tangential connection, whether through work or relationships, or, you know, hung out together, spent time on a thing together. Yeah, man, these people, like, you guys, these people, my family, my party, like, they totally welcomed me in, like, with open arms, like few people ever have in my life. I took time away from my clients, my kids, my dogs, my wife, my passion, and it just so far exceeded any expectation or anything I could say. Like Kelly said, like I knew I was gonna come here and like maybe like you guys, maybe get along, like maybe we'd have a good time. I had no idea like I was gonna be taking like so much friendship and love away from this. Like I'm just like so super honored to like be here with you guys. And for anybody who walks in who's like, you know, it's D&D, it's this and that, like it's real memories, it's real connections, it's really caring about each other. And yeah, I'll never forget. I'll never forget. I just can't thank everybody who's involved and RealmSmith for making us part of the family. and everybody who's in it. And it's just unreal. I could just talk about it all night, but I'm sure we have more to talk about. So
Yeah, we only have 5 minutes left, but but we will talk about this, I'm sure, for the next few hours while we pack up and say goodbye. But for RealmSmith specifically, we had a lot of options on the table when it came to ways that we could go for our next campaign and for our next show. We're still waiting to do our Into the Mist show, and there's a bunch of other shows that we kind of have in the works. But we decided to push this to the top because it was an incredibly exciting opportunity for a lot of reasons. Bringing the tattoo community and the D&D community together was incredibly important. Accessing a new audience, accessing new companies that may want to support this sort of thing. And so there were a lot of business reasons. But what really pushed it to the point where we're sitting here together in this Victorian mansion playing D&D was you guys, was the relationship I have with Chad. And again, Gen Con was only our 1 year anniversary of meeting each other, and here we are 1 year later, creating a show, and then him bringing all of these wonderful people into my life. So, and of course to meet Cass at GaryCon, and then here we are. And you can't manufacture this, and I've tried, and you could get streamers and you can get the people that whatever, but there's something that has happened here without sounding trite or contrived, is magical. There was magic that occurred when we were on Zoom together. There was magic that occurred when we were in our chats. And so my hope is that magic transcends the internet, and that people at home kind of get a glimpse and a feeling of what I felt and what we've felt. And I don't feel like the producer. I feel like we're friends. And I think that again, I've made friends for life. I really have. I told Andy that the first day we met in person here. Just because you feel that energy, you get that just from spending time together. And it's just been such an incredible experience for us. I can't thank you enough. We can't pay you enough. Honestly speaking, we know this, and we all went into this knowing that. Yeah. But it's all about doing something we love in hopes that we can continue to do what we love. Yeah. And so, my hope is that those out there who love this, talk about it, spread the word. There's so much work that has gone into it for these folks. And so whatever you can do to support what they're doing, do it, because they are worth it. They're incredible people, and incredibly talented, not only as in their own rights as tattoo artists and law clerks, but also in what we brought to the table here and what they were able to do. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it is incredibly meaningful to me for you to invest your time, which monetarily is much more valuable than this time, to do something that you love, that I love, and that we can share together. So thank you so very much for that.
And thank you, honestly, for having us.
Thank you.
A million times over. I mean, this, as much as it couldn't have happened without us and the magic that we have, this could not have happened to the degree that it has without you.
Yeah,
100%.
Yep.
And straight up, if if this didn't happen with the people that are here right now, I still wouldn't know what this game was. Right. It's one of those things where it's we had an intro to it, and I was like, that's cool, and I didn't play for 3 years. And then this happened, and now I'm gonna take it home. I'm gonna show my kids. I'm gonna play, with people that I tattoo that I know already play. Sure. I'm gonna get better and learn, and you all gave me that. So, thank you.
Yeah, and again, without being kind of cheesy or whatever, I can thank the dozens of people who brought me to where I am, and paying it forward. Which again, not to be cheesy, but that whole idea of pushing that ball further and spreading that love and it growing, and it's infectious. And you've seen us laugh, you've seen them cry, you've seen them, scream, sing.
I think I did all those things.
Yeah, all of those things. It's been such an incredible experience. And I know the episode ended kind of on an emotional note. People who watch RealmSmith know that is not something that we shy from. I've cried many times on camera, as has the rest of our cast members in other shows. But what I told Chad, I think on the way here, and I said, sure, people are going to love it, and they're going to say, oh, it's the best D&D show I've ever seen, or, I love what you're doing, and I love you guys as artists, and we want to show, and they supported it, and they share it, and all this wonderful stuff that happens. Oh, yeah, we got to play D&D professionally, in a, Victorian mansion, and all of this kind of, and we went to Gen Con, and we did a panel. I mean, there's all this wonderful stuff. But the thing that I didn't expect when I started this whole thing was the effect that I would have on people at home, in their own lives. And honestly, weekly hearing people, no word of a lie, getting messages saying I wouldn't be around if it wasn't for RealmSmith. If it wasn't for your shows during the pandemic, I wouldn't be here. And we get it all the time. And having lost a cast member myself a couple of years ago, when he just didn't show up for a session, then found out that he took his life. Like, that is real. And the state of our world right now is real. And as much as this is fun and we're throwing dice and we're just doing things, honestly, it's changing lives. As crazy as that sounds, this game changes and it saves lives. And I mean, that for me is it was the thing I expected the least, but it has become the greatest honor and blessing for doing what RealmSmith does. So with that, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate so much everybody supporting and watching this show and the series. And we had a request that we were going to roll a dice for those that we've lost and for those that we've touched. We're going to do that, and then we're going to say goodnight, and we're going to see you again sometime on the Incubus. Grab my dice here.
2,
Caleb, man.
3. Nice.
So
Good night, guys. Be safe. Love each other.